Yo, what is going on, part-timers? Zach here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about punishing Gray Raven. So I was recently going through Twitter and I seen that TapTap has given out an award for punishing Gray Raven, the global side, for Player's Choice at the TapTap Game Awards for 2021, which means as a Player's Choice that it was voted by players. And I was like, yo, this is dope. This is going to get a lot of people to look at it and at least get an interaction with new players or existing players or even people who are returning. Maybe they gave it up at the first couple of months and like, you know what, let's go ahead and dive back into it. And I was like, yo, this is awesome. So I was like, let's go ahead and check out and see what Punishing Gray Raven did on the global side on their Twitter. Did they retweet it? Did they mention it? Did they say anything? And lo and behold, they didn't say anything. They haven't even mentioned it. They didn't even say, hey guys, we just won an award. And TapTap released this about 10 hours ago. So obviously they could cook up something. They could be working on something. But the fact is, I wish they would have at least retweeted it, right? At least would have been like, hey guys, by the way, we just won an award. Go check out the trailer that TapTap gave us to give us a little bit of an idea of what's going on with the game. If you're a new player, returning player, or whatever, here is what's going on since you've left. I really think that they need to push the marketing. And that's just kind of the juice of the video here. Just the fact that I love the game. I think it's free to play. I think the story is great. I think the characters and all that stuff. I absolutely love Punishing Gray Raven. But my problem is the marketing. I want it to be pushed out. I want it to have, like, when you're winning awards, retweet that. Give a little video. Say, hey, if you never checked out my game, here's what's going on with it. This is why you should be jumping into it. Here's some of the characters. Here's some of the lore. Not too much spoiler, just enough to get you hooked in. Like, okay, I want to go play that. I want to go see what's going on. By the way, here's our recent event. This is what's going on. Retweet it, whatever, you know, just to push it out a little bit more and say, hey, by the way, we just won an award. Come check us out. I feel like Punishing Gray Raven really lacks on that. They really are just relying on some of the content creators, I feel like, and just we're pretty much putting the game on the backpack and be like, okay, let's go ahead and try to carry this game and spread it out. And the community is like, you know what? We're going to help you guys out. We love the game and we're going to try to do word of mouth, but that can only get so far. I have so many comments that have always said, you know, I just recently talked to my friend about this game and they had no idea this was a game. The guy plays gacha games, play mobile game, never even knew that Punishing Gray Raven was a thing. And I feel like this is the problem with Punishing Gray Raven, relying too much on the fact that it has a CN release, a JP release, and they're a little bit more ahead. So obviously, if you're a dedicated fan of the game, you've been watching it since CN, you're so happy that Global came out, that's awesome. You kind of know what's going to be going on. You know, the kind of the structure and schedule of the game. They recently talked about the structure of the game over a 6-month period, which is a really good idea for them to do. But I knew that that was kind of pushback because Chaotic actually kind of got that in motion, basically. He was the one that was able to push them into doing that. And so it was really cool to see that that actually happened. But I wish they would do a little bit more about that because a lot of people either jumped on Google Play or TapTap or whatever, and they seen a global version. They're like, hey, I'm going to check out this game, but I have no idea that there is a CN game. I didn't know that there's a JP game. I don't really care to look into those versions because I only understand English or whatever. So I'm just going to play this one and kind of hope for the best. And they don't really know what's going on besides the fact that they interact with people in the community or a content creator or whatever. Like, oh, there's other stuff happening. This game's already established. Okay, I guess I'll watch some of that stuff. I just wish Punishing Gray Raven would push out a little bit more content because even the stuff that they do for trailers, and this isn't like a huge thing for me, but the fact is they are CN trailers that got translated into global, and that's basically all they are. So they're just the fact that, hey, this is an event, this is the character, this is the same exact trailer that happened in CN, but now you can kind of understand it in case you didn't know Chinese or whatever. So this is just the gist of what's going on. And I'm going to compare it a little bit to Genshin and the way Honkai does it. I totally understand that they have huge budgets, make tons of money, so they have a little bit more flexibility. But the fact is, we've recently been looking at Genshin Impact characters and details and story and all this different stuff for trailers. And I really feel like even Honkai has a good telling of like, hey, this is what's going on with our characters. Here's what's going on with the story. This is why you should get hyped about the new character. Here's why you should get hyped about the new event. Here is like the acts going through all the different things that you can expect in the next couple of years. And this is why we're going to be working on it. It gives you a sense of like, I really like that character. I think that character is really dope. I want to see what's going on with that. Oh, there's a little part of the story of that character. Okay, now I'm a little intrigued to see why that character got to this point or why they're even with us at this point, and just giving a little bit more of an idea of why you want to be invested in these characters. And I think Punishing Gray Raven could definitely do the same thing. They have really cool characters. They have really cool stories, and they could be doing that for global. They could be like, hey, by the way, this is Lucia. This is what she does. This is why you kind of want to play her. Maybe this is why you want to get her. Now, the events do that. Obviously, they have the videos where it structures some of the different moves and some of the different things with the story. But I really feel like the fact that they put it all into an event video really gives you an information overload because you're like, well, I don't really know what's going on and what's happening with this story. They add little story elements to it, but you're like, okay, so why did that tie into that? As a new player, I don't really understand that. What makes sense here? And then there's like, okay, cool skins. And then all of a sudden you have a different mode and you're like, okay, whatever. I really feel like they could cut up the character portions and just make a little bit more of a dedicated video to characters and some of the different story elements to give you a little bit more of like a hype moment around it. And I really feel like content creators would also be able to jump onto this, provide more hype, because they'd be able to build up the communities around it, and everybody would be like, oh, this character's coming out. Even the people who know when the schedules characters are going to be coming out, they would still get hyped because it's like, oh, I just watched a cool ass trailer. It reminded me of how cool this character was and why I can't wait to jump on it. And then the content creators like, yeah, this is awesome, I can't wait. And then all the new players are like, oh, this is really cool, I can't wait to get to that point. And I really feel like there's just a level of marketing on this game that is just going untouched. It's basically just like, hey, we have a CN version of it. Hopefully you look into it, and hopefully you're able to see some of the different live streams they do, and some of the better, I would be honest here, better choreographic kind of ways that they do the trailers, and some of the different ways that they do it. They are crushing it on the way that they've been doing it on the CN. I just wish they would stop using the CN trailers for global and just transition to that better looking stuff, right? Just like, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and try to remake the way Plume comes out, or when Rosetta comes out, or when the Nier stuff comes out. Let's just kind of structure it a little bit differently. We'll give them like the 30, 45-second video, a little bit higher resolution, a little bit higher details on this character, on why you should be pulling that character and why it matters. Let's build the hype around these characters. And then, you know what? We can throw out the CN translated to global version of the trailer as well. And then we'll just build a little bit more hype around that. I just think there's a lot of avenues that Punishing Gray Raven could do. And I really feel like they could work with content creators and the community a little bit more to get an idea of exactly that. There's a lot of times where we recommend stuff or say stuff like, hey, my community is saying this. And there are a lot of like, hey, we're just on a structure, we're on a schedule, this is just how it is. And it's like, man, I get it, I totally understand, but I'm telling you what the community wants. And I really feel like you guys got to listen here, because you got a solid game on your hands, and you have tons of potential to end up being maybe even the size of like Honkai and Genshin, man. Like, this game could be colossal when it comes to just the way that it is, if they pushed it correctly. But that's all I got to say, guys. I just kind of wanted to have a discussion with you. So definitely let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, some of the different changes that you would make, or some of the different things you would see. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. Have a good rest of your night, guys. Peace.